Hey there, everyone. Happy Thursday. King 5 Meteorologist Adam Claibon here with you on a beautiful Thursday that we have seen here. And it's been pretty much the theme for a lot of the week. It's been very comfortable, and we've seen a good amount of sunshine here throughout the past few days, and more of that to come into Friday as a lot of us get ready to kick off Seafair weekend. Going to be one of the warmest days that we'll have here into the weekend, and definitely going to be probably one of the warmer days that we'll have here for the next week or so. Now, we'll get into some of the warmer days later into next week. That heat probably will start to rival what we're going to see for tomorrow. But let's go ahead and get into what we have been noticing here recently, because as I mentioned, it's been a very comfortable stretch. And here we go into the last day of July for tomorrow, and you can see a lot of the second half of July has been relatively comfortable since about the 15th. Now, we've had those hot days on the 21st and the 22nd, which were in the 90s, but thankfully things are looking to be much more comfortable. Here we are heading into the weekend. Friday, we are expecting to see highs in the low 80s, and then we got those lower 70s. Again, temperatures that are struggling to get into the 70s for both Saturday and Sunday, and that chance of showers around heading into the day on Saturday. Maybe a chance around heading into the day for Sunday, but I think those are more spotty or stray in nature as opposed to what we're going to see a bit more widespread of heading into Saturday, and a lot of that should be relatively light. So, your forecast, next 7 days. We get the cool down over the weekend. We get the warm up again into next work week. As I mentioned, we do start to see some signs of some heat trying to return. We'll keep an eye out for that Wednesday forecast, because that could get rather toasty, and we'll fine tune it for you here as we head on into more of the earlier part of next work week. But for the here and now, it's all about the in-between, where we are right now, as we are currently seeing a lot of clear skies, smoke and a lot of that haze over the eastern side of the state and across more of interior parts of the northwest. And then we got the clear skies here, but the clouds, you can see those beginning to arrive for areas just along more the Oregon coast. And for us here closer to the Washington coast, we'll see them in a while, but they are going to take their time before they get here. So I think another clear day on the way heading into Friday before that happens. Our SchoolNet side here at Granite Falls. Nice to see that blue sky there out at Mount Pilchuck here into this late Thursday evening. And then looking at your Bellingham camera, you can see a few clouds off into the distance there as well, but generally things pretty nice and sunny. Port Angeles, more the same for us out this way towards the Strait of Juan de Fuca. And our Tacoma camera, some clouds are right on the top of the Cascades, but not right near. It sticks out from the rest, and you can see the top of that there. Our Everett camera, plenty of sun out that way, some clouds out over the top of the Olympic Mountains. And looking here in Seattle, pretty neat, right? We are seeing, there you go, those are the Blue Angels right there. If you just are noticing it, right there, they're flying all over the place, and you can see the streaks they're leaving behind. It's going to be very interesting to see how the forecast will play a role in their show heading on into the weekend. But I think for tomorrow, if you're going to be out and trying to enjoy them all around the city and here around parts of our Seafair weekend, should be good to go. Right now, sitting at 73, and definitely nothing impeding any sort of viewing here of the Blue Angels into this afternoon on Thursday as they are practicing out there. We'll see our temperatures drop down into the 60s and eventually into the 50s for those overnight lows starting off into early tomorrow morning. Now, check this out right here. It has been a relatively similar day to what we had yesterday. I mean, maybe a degree or two warmer or cooler depending on where you are, but generally, we're pretty close to where we were sitting at this point 24 hours ago, which when you see the numbers, mid to upper 70s, they're up near the 80-degree mark in Puyallup, and then 60s farther to the north and to the west. Not too bad of an afternoon for us. And boy, it is quite the change from what we saw earlier this morning. This morning's lows, they were chilly in a few spots. A lot of 40s out there. Port Townsend at 46, 44 in Quileute, down to 45 in Bremerton, and 46 in Olympia, with some lower 50s elsewhere here around parts of Puget Sound. All right, so those are the temperatures. So what are we looking at as far as the skies? Well, just showed you satellite imagery and where we have some of that smoke haze across the eastern side of the state. Let's show you where there is actually some areas of rain, and radar showing some of that out along more of Vancouver Island. Shouldn't be working its way eastward all that much here for the next 24 hours, because we are going to see this area of low pressure continue to swoop its way around eventually, but the direction it's heading for the time being more so in that direction right here. So before it starts to head more off to the east, it is going to take more of a south and westerly track before it heads our way and brings in those higher chances of rain for the upcoming weekend. With that too, some stronger winds, and those winds will not bring rain off towards the eastern side of the state. Looks like we're going to keep a lot of that moisture farther to the west, and with it just being wind and a descending wind off of the Cascades, we're talking about the potential for an elevated fire risk. That's going to be with us because of the strong winds and the low humidity coming off of the Cascades. And so fire weather watches have been issued for eastern Washington, and that will start up at 11 o'clock Saturday morning and last until 11 p.m. heading into Saturday evening. And those areas right there shaded in more the tan color under this fire weather watch for now. National Weather Service could see fit, though, to upgrade that to a red flag warning. And that basically just means that we're going to be in that window where those conditions will be pretty prime in maybe helping to enhance and flare up more of those fires, or maybe just perhaps being in a spot where those fires could even grow more again for additional fires because of the potential for, things such as chains on roads or whatever may help to spark it, may help to create a fire and help it to spread rather rapidly. So with that being the case, let's show you how the winds are going to pick up closer to that time. Here we are at 10 p.m. on Saturday. Let's go ahead and back up a little bit here because winds should be dying down just a bit at that point. But as we go throughout the morning hours of Saturday, 8 o'clock, you can see some stronger gusts at that point beginning to take place, especially for areas closer to Wenatchee and up there near Leavenworth. But as we go on into the latter part of the morning and early into the afternoon, here we are at 1. You can see that really spreads out a lot more, and that's when we're seeing more of those widespread gusts closer to 35, 40, maybe even 45 miles per hour. And with our fires over there, we're talking about the potential for those beginning to spread rather quickly because of that. Going to be breezy too across the eastern or the western side of the state as well. It's just that we'll have some of the shower activity across the area too, and that wind coming off of the water will help to keep things rather damp and nice for us. So that's going to keep things a little cooler, yes, but also prevent us from really seeing much of that high fire danger at all. So that will continue on as we go into the evening, and then you can see as we go on into later on into Saturday night and early into Sunday morning, those winds do die off rather quickly. So it will be a one-day event, but for right now, it is looking like Saturday will be that day that we are going to have the highest fire potential across more of central and eastern Washington. And that, again, also is going to be because we really don't see any of that rain finding its way east of the Cascades. Here we are at 7 o'clock Friday morning, and it's clear all across this state with the rain finally beginning to push in as we head into early Saturday morning, 4 to 5 o'clock out there around the coast and the Olympic Peninsula. Now it heads eastward. That band will break down. We see some rain still holding together, so I think most of us will at least see some shower activity at some point throughout the day on Saturday. But once it hits the Cascades, a lot of that moisture gets soaked up and it pretty much dies right there. And we continue on into the latter part of our Saturday evening and Saturday night, and we don't see much more in terms of that activity. Where things might stay a bit wet for a little bit of a longer time will be up this way, parts of Skagit County down through Snohomish County, where some convergence zone activity might be for us. And so that might keep things a bit more cloudy and wet and maybe a little cooler here as we head on into the latter part of the day on Saturday and heading into the earlier part of Sunday as we keep that onshore flow going. Whatever does fall, however, should be very, very light, especially for areas farther to the east where we're expecting maybe up to about a tenth of an inch of rain out there, generally just a few hundredths of an inch. But for areas farther north where we could see some convergence zone happening up that way around northern Snohomish and heading to Skagit County, Mount Vernon, you can see maybe a little over a tenth of an inch there. And then for parts of the coast as well, especially up around the north coast, we'll see a higher chance of seeing maybe at least a tenth of an inch, if not more. And your forecasted highs, well, we take the dive after Friday's high back down into the low 70s for Saturday and Sunday. And then our numbers start to climb as we head on into definitely more of Tuesday and then Wednesday, as we'll see highs in the 80s, but then they come back down here as we head on into the latter part of next week. But they are expected to stay at least near and around that 80-degree mark. So the average high of 79 won't be too far off of that, but we're not really talking about extreme heat as of now. There is the potential, and there are models that are showing that it could get very toasty and just downright hot. But for right now, looks like we are going to see more of a moderate warm-up as opposed to an extreme one as we head on into the first week of August. For tonight, we'll drop those temperatures down, not so much so into the 40s. We'll have a couple of them out there. Olympia down to 48 degrees. Most spots, though, down to the low 50s. And then highs heading into the day for tomorrow. Friday's looking like it is going to be a little warmer. So Anacortes around Orcas Island, getting up to the 70s. 81, though, around Mount Vernon, calling for 80s from Arlington down through Lake Stevens. Oso getting up to 85. We'll top off at 82 in Maltby. It looks like maybe staying just shy of 80 around Everett with 70s over Camano and Whidbey Island. And then more 80s from Hallsville down to Bremerton, 84 in Renton, 85 in Issaquah, Snoqualmie, topping off at 84 degrees and seeing more of the mid to upper 80s down this way around Tacoma, Puyallup, and in Olympia. With down the way through I-5, we're seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 80s and 60s as you make your way out to the coast and around the Olympic Peninsula. Forecast over the next 7 days, it's going to stay pretty warm, and thankfully we're going to have a pretty nice day to start off Seafair weekend with the cooler weather coming around as we head on into Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, have the rain gear nearby for Saturday, but I don't think you'll have to use it all that much, but just a lot of low clouds around. Okay, everyone, we'll take care. Hope that you have a tremendous Thursday night. We'll talk to you soon.